Hello everyone, Miss Art Garden here, and today we're going to do a different kind of Let's Draw. It's going to be a Let's Paint. And we're going to do a portrait. And, you know, these usually take me like an hour minimum, these speed paints. So I will definitely be speeding up the video in places, considering it takes me like 18 hours to upload a 20-minute video. I don't think I could handle a real time. But if it's something you guys feel strongly about, let me know in the comments, and I will try to work something out in the future, real-time painting. For now, I'll just cover the bullet points and you won't miss anything. I'm going to speed it up here, in fact, while I finish drawing the sketch for the portrait of the speed paint. Okay, so I have a sketch here now that I'm happy with. It took me about 7.5 minutes, and I'm going to jump right into coloring now. So I'm going to change the background color to kind of a mid-tone, and the reason I'm doing this is because I think it's better to work dark to light for color reasons. Or I'm going to change my sketch because it's not very visible right now. I'll change it pretty much almost white. You can either go almost white or almost dark, either way, as long as you can see it. And then I'm going to create a color layer. I'm going to go ahead and just pick a skin color, and it's going to be the same thing. Instead of, you know, picking a pale color, I think I did this on my previous videos. I've kind of moved beyond that step. I think it's harder to go, then you've kind of started with your light value and everything has to be darker. So I think it's a little bit easier to go with a mid-tone color. Something like this, and that looks pretty good. I'm going to bump my hardness down. I just am using one of the default brushes, and it's about 191, hardness 89 or something, and I'm just going to fill in all the skin color now. Okay, there we go, and it's okay if you go out of the lines up here and stuff, because, you know, it's the first color you're putting down, so you'll go over it with the other colors. And I think it's kind of important that, you know, you fill in all the lines, because eventually you'll go in and you'll see like you've missed some lines, and you'll have to go in and work on them. And when you do this, also you'll want to kind of smooth out these lines later too. So it's not important to make it, you know, perfectly colored now. You can always go back and change it. So let's go ahead and put her hair color in. We'll just make her like a regular brunette, sort of. Let's just pick a color. This one looks fine. Okay, and I think, you know, now that you see it colored, I'm going to move the hairline out from where the original sketch was, just because I think it looked a bit odd. I'm going for kind of a messy bun look. Okay, and then we'll do, I'm not going to do the tufts of hair. I know I sketched them in, but I'm going to be working on her face, and her hair will be a separate layer, so I'm going to wait and do that later. For now, let's pick a color for her outfit here. Let's make it like a nice dark green. Okay, and now we have the base colors in, and if you hide your line layer, you can come in and touch up any areas that you think need to be fixed up, or you can do it as you work later on. It's up to you. I'm just going to touch up a few areas right now. Okay, that's good enough. I have in my layers, I have my line, my color, and the background layer. I'm going to make a new one. And I'm going to click this option, which is use previous layer to create clipping mask. It's just something, what that means if you're not aware. Everything you draw on this layer will only show up if the previous layer has, like, you know, digital data on it, or, you know, a color. And if you release the clipping mask, you can see it remembers everything you draw. It's just that when it's in the clipping mask, it will only apply to the layer if it has something on it. So I'm going to now, let's make the light come from this side. So I'm going to start working on the darker shade values. I'm just going to pick this color and like a shadow color. And then I'm going to use this, this is kind of a default brush that I've used sometimes. And I'm going to bump the hardness down and make it kind of bigger. And you can see it's kind of a brush that just sort of has some soft edges to it. So I think it's a good brush to lay out the shade. And then I'm just going to go ahead and start. I'm going to turn this down. It's a little too high. I had it at 100%, and I'm going to turn it down to 27. And start, I'm just going to build on the shading here. So I'm going to lay down kind of where the shading needs to go first, because her face has these like protruding parts such as her nose and stuff and her mouth. There'll be some shadow areas here, so we're just going to build on those. And you can see if you erase your line art, or you don't erase it but hide it, you can already see like the face starting to take shape as you kind of apply these shadows. So I'm going to pick a even darker color now and start just kind of putting even more shadow. I'm going to make my brush a little smaller, putting more detail in, like where it would be like around this nose area. So that looks pretty good, I think. I'm going to take this color now and I'm going to boost it to a much, I'm going to turn to a brighter color, and then I'm going to turn the hardness down. And I'm going to go over at any of these like big highlighted areas, such as like where the light's catching her on her forehead, the side of her nose over here, that would catch her chin down here, and then definitely her cheek, like on this side. And then we can have, her skin here. So before I go any further, I'm looking at this and I think, it's not quite saturated enough. So if you want to be real careful, you could go and you could highlight it. I'm not going to, since I haven't really put much effort into these other colors, I'm just going to go. Okay, so I'm going to go to my curves here, and I'm going to when I do the shadows in the future too, I'm going to boost them up to try to help kind of give her more of a lively look, because right now she looks a little deadly. So that's kind of before, and this kind of after. And it's not that big a deal, I just want to keep making these color adjustments while I am thinking of them. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to pick an even brighter color. I'm going to bump my opacity down to like 12% and just come in and push these highlights out a bit more. So there we go. Now we have kind of, light to dark. It's starting to come about more. So we'll go ahead and start detailing in some of her features. So I'm going to, what I'm going to do actually? I'm going to take brush and I'm going to set it to color dodge. And I'll pick this kind of bright color here. And I still have my opacity at about 12%. And I'm going to go through and add some like bright colors in some of these areas. You can kind of see if you keep doing it, how it sort of looks like it's brightening up the skin. And that's kind of, we're just going to touch it. We'll do it a little bit more in the future, but we're just going to touch on it right now. So now if you want, you can take this, this is kind of, if you want to add some highlights to her hair and stuff too right now. Let's go ahead and do that. So we'll pick, kind of a blue color, and we'll just sort of mark this side of her hair as the highlighted part. And we'll come in and add some shadow here. But while we have this on Dodge Tool, we'll just go ahead and add a couple bright colors here. And then I'm going to turn my brush back to normal and pick, a darker color. Oops. Turn my opacity up to about 30. Okay, so you get the idea. There we are for just the beginning, and I'm gonna add some detail next so I can, hide this line layer. So I'm gonna kind of make it a smaller thing here. I'm gonna go in with a real dark color and a smaller brush. Not quite that small, that's probably good. like that. And I'm going to kind of sketch in the shape of her eyes in this layer here, going by what I originally had planned with my sketch. And we'll do the same with her mouth. And you can see if I hide this, you're basically just putting in, you know, where the features are. So I'm going to do the same over here for her ear. And I'm going to reinforce her chin line as well. So now I'm gonna just leave this one hidden for now. I might go back to it reference-wise if I need to, but I think we have enough detail in this to continue on without it. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm going to do one more thing though that I noticed is I didn't detail in her nose properly. And I'm just going to, on that hair layer before I forget, I'm just going to sketch in where I had her eyebrows. I think her chin needs to come down a little bit. I think it's, so I'm just going to take this highlight, move it out. And there we go. Now we've kind of caught up. Now I'm going to work on just kind of smoothing out where the lighting is on her face. Okay, so now I've kind of pushed these. I still think that the color's a little bit not saturated enough, so I'm just going to kind of mess around with my levels a little bit. Here we go. Just going to mark in her eye shape. You know, the eyes kind of have like a little bend at that area, and then they come down. And then we'll do the underneath one, like so. Do the same over here. And there'll be a highlight above her eye here, and one, you know, kind of here. And we'll have kind of a whitish color, but it's not going to be actually white. It's going to be kind of a tannish white for her eye whites, like that, and like that. And this white is going to be brighter than the other one. So she's got ghost eyes right now, I know. Since it's in the light, it'll have a little bit more of a brighter color. And this one will be a little bit darker. So I'm just gonna kind of shade that in to be more dark. And then we can take like red, orange, and just put it in the very corner, because that's usually people have a little bit of redness there. Let's make her color, her eye color, like a blue. And we'll just go ahead and mark some pigment in here. There we go. So now we can see, you know, a little bit more how this is going to turn out. I'm going to do the hair next, but real quick, let's just kind of make some adjustments to her lips, which I think are a bit off. It's still not exactly how I want it in the future, but before we make too many more advancements on her face, I want to kind of try to catch up her hair and her clothes a little bit. I think it's good to just kind of keep working in tandem with everything. So I'm going to come in here with a darker color. I've inadvertently given her gray hair. So I think maybe what I'm going to do is select this. Okay, I'm going to feather it like 5 inches or 5 pixels. And I'm going to colorize this so it's a little bit more brown. Okay, so we'll take this. Now we're in the brown section. And we'll just start kind of putting in where shadows might be. This is not quite dark enough. Okay, so now I'm moving back to the regular layer, and I'm going to go ahead and do her clothes just a little bit here. So now I'm going to kind of start finalizing everything about the sketch. I'm going to go back in and push some of these shadows a little bit more because I think I've lost some of the value gradients. So I'm going to go in one more time with the color burn tool now, and I'm going to really push those highlights. So I'm going to hardness 0, make my brush kind of big, and just really push where I think those highlights need to be. Okay. Now I have, I think her face shape over here looks a little weird. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to Filter Liquify. Hopefully this will be viewable. And so this is kind of a neat trick you can do if you have it on the finger pointer top one, depending on the model you have. I'm going to move this out a bit and move her chin over and move this part in a bit. And you can kind of make adjustments, like say you didn't like her face. I know I do warp a lot, but you can also come in and do this liquify tool as well if you want to make an adjustment like that. Hit OK. So that's before, those are with the adjustments, and I do like it better with the adjustments, so we'll keep that. Okay, it's been a while since we went onto her hair. Let's leave the face for a minute and go back to her hair just to kind of, you know, keep it interesting. I'm going to take kind of a saturated color, and I'm going to set my brush to color burn and kind of get these root areas a little bit and this area over here. Just give a color variation. And then I'm going to turn my brush back to normal and start picking up colors and approximating shades and stuff from them. And I'm going to go in and just keep working on them. And don't forget to kind of highlight the other end of her hair, like the lights peeking through a little bit. It'll give it kind of a glow effect. So now I'm going to go back to my main color layer and just add in some more details. Keep working on this mouth, keep working on the eyes, keep working on the nose. Okay, and we're just going to finish everything off with just a little bit of detail work. I hope you guys found this useful. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section below. and I will see you in the next video.